Welcome to Coffee with Clara Rose. I'm super excited today to have, well, a friend now, honestly,
Yes.
because we've been working together for a while, but a brand new author with Rosedale Publishing, Yasmine Brown. Welcome.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
We are so excited to be here today because, dun dun dun, your book is coming out. So if you got a tight shot here, you would see that this says not for resale, and that is simply because it is not quite published yet, but any day now it's going to be live. And so we're here today to celebrate the effort that this was, because it was some work, right?
Yes, it was.
Been in the works for a while, and people don't have any clue how much work goes into creating a book.
They don't. I did it.
Right. And you came with a partially done manuscript already. So imagine
Right.
if you had been starting totally from scratch.
Oh my gosh.
We'd still be at this
Yes.
for sure. But
Yes.
so let's talk about this exciting new book. So first of all, Embracing Me,
Yes.
5 Steps to Discovering Who God Created You to Be.
Yes.
This really is your story, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your journey and why you wrote this book.
Well, one of the reasons why I wrote this book was because initially when I discovered that I should be doing something with my life,
Right?
I
Not
had
just
this,
floating
like,
along.
what are you doing with yourself, right? And then, someone asked me, what is your purpose? What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, and so I had to go through this journey of discovering who I was. But throughout that journey, I also wrote the different trials and things that I faced with myself,
Sure.
Pretty much trying to accept that I was who I was and not wanting to deal with what other people were saying about it. You know what I mean? So I went through a lot of, emotions, feelings, crying. I got angry when I was writing a book, and then, it was a lot of emotions like just festering up. But
Right.
overall, the reason why I wrote the book was because I discovered who I was, and I want other women to discover who they are. And if they can follow the steps that I did, I hope they would discover themselves as well.
That's why there's 5 steps, right? The 5
Yes.
steps you're discovering.
Yes.
So I'm sure when you were going through this process, you didn't, realize that you were going through 5 phases or 5 steps or 5, whatever. But
No.
looking back, it's easy to say, okay, here was my journey, right?
Right.
And that's what this was about, documenting what your journey was and saying, oh, there's 5 steps here. This is
Yes.
duplicatable, right?
It is. It
Somebody
is.
else could do this too.
Yes. I wish someone else gave me that management.
Right? Shorten the learning curve a little for you. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Like, help me out.
Help a girl out.
Yes.
I totally agree with that.
Yes.
So this actually, before this was birthed, something else happened last year. You birthed something else. Tell us about that.
Well, so last year was the first event that we had, which was called Awakening Your Gift. And Awakening Your Gift was simply about me coming to the fullness of this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but I wasn't ready to act on it because I went through, I think most women go through this, the imposter syndrome.
Sure.
Not thinking that I'm good enough or, I'm trying to be someone else, So when I finally discovered who I was and what my purpose was, I felt like other women needed that boost, that, that awakening, because a lot of us are sitting with the gift inside of us and it's laying dormant. So the reason why I believe it was the Holy Spirit, God, that gave me this, this mission to awaken other women gift, to stir them up so that they can know that they have a purpose. And so when we did the event last year, that it launched, and I was asked, was I going to do it again? I didn't even know if I was going to do it again. I thought, I did it. I was obedient.
Right?
And
God
then-
told me to. I did it there.
That was it.
Okay. Because it's a lot of work.
It
It's
is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. But, I believe the good part about it is that I was being obedient.
Right.
So that is the most gratifying thing to know that I did what, the Holy Spirit or God told me to do. And so many women were touched by it, They even shared their story, and I have little snippets of it on the website, where they're sharing, how they were empowered and how it changed their lives. And, it was so many takeaways from it. But I initially was not going to do it because, like I said, I struggle with that. And that's why I wrote the book, because I can only imagine how many other women are struggling with, embracing who they are. So they need someone to actually awaken that gift and stir them up so they can get up and go do it, and impact whoever God has called them to serve. Because we're not here to serve everyone. Right. But we're here to serve someone. Right.
And that is totally based on the giftings that God gave us, right? God created us with certain gifts, right? Created us that way. We don't always utilize those gifts, right? Or even understand that those are our gifts.
You're right.
Until somebody else points out, oh, hey, you know what? Your gift is X. You're like, what?
Yes, that is how it came about. Honestly, I was attending this church, and they had this leadership classes that they were doing, and it was about finding out what your gift was, something along those lines. And when I took the class, oh my God, I was like, oh, this is me. look, this is me. They're talking about me in there.
That's awesome.
So when I discovered that just changed my whole entire outlook and my confidence,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, this is who I am, and it's time for me to embrace that. So I talk about that in the book, the process that it took for me to get there.
From where you were to where you are now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so last year, you had a 1 day.
Yes.
Awakening Your Gift was a 1 day.
Yes.
With some networking and some educational stuff, right?
Yes.
But this year is bigger and better. Tell us about this year.
So this year, we're doing it's a 2-day event.
Okay.
At the Hyatt House on Fifth Avenue in Naples, Florida. So day 1 is going to be from 6 p.m. to 10. So it's called Meet and Greet. This is where the women come and they talk about their story, about becoming an entrepreneur, or some women may have not even tapped into being an entrepreneur yet. They're probably still working, and that's fine, but it's just a safe place to empower women and to just talk, and maybe something might get stirred up for the ones that have not necessarily tapped into what that is. And they're going to be exchanging business cards that night. I have 2 ladies that's going to also be sharing their story. One of them are still doing their 9 to 5 while they're building their business, and the other one, she's gone full time into her business. And of course, myself, I'm going to talk about my experience too. But the first day is the meet and greet, and the second day is you're going to be a part of that.
I'm speaking. That's true. I'm excited to be there and talk about crafting your message for the world.
Yes.
It's an important part of once you've discovered who you're created to be.
Yes.
Right? Once that is awakened within you and you're like, it's almost like an aha moment, right? When you go, oh, this is who I am. This is what I'm meant to do, right? Then that's not the end, right?
It's just the beginning.
That's the beginning. That's step 1,
That's
right?
step 1.
So you need to, and you talk about that in your book, right? That it was a journey. Right?
It was a journey. It was a journey, and to be honest with you, we're still learning. We're always evolving. We go from faith to faith and glory to glory. I have not arrived.
Right.
And I don't want any woman to ever feel like, they are, less or not good enough. Right. Because they feel like I'm perfect. I constantly get this all the time. I'm like, no, that's far from the truth. I am not perfect. I'm always striving to be the best version of myself. And that has been a journey because I didn't know who I was. Right. So I had to discover who I was first in order to embrace that person, So I just want every woman to know that they have a God-given talent and they have a purpose. And whatever that purpose is, you will not live a fulfilled life until you embrace it, until you actually say, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And listen, do not shut yourself down to that to say that, oh, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, because it might just be for a season.
Right.
But we have to understand that, you're called to do something, and understand when the seasons change, and it's okay to move on to
Right.
something else.
Because seasons do change.
They do.
Right? Just like the seasons of our lives where, we go from single to being married.
Yes.
Right? And then we go from married, and you talk about that a little bit in the book too.
Yeah, I
right?
do.
Then you go from being married to having children, being a mom
Yes.
or not being a mom,
Yes.
whatever your choice is. And then the kids are in school, and then the kids are gone, and then the kids are married, and then the kids are having kids, and
Oh my
you're a
God.
grandmother, and you're not there yet.
I'm not ready.
I certainly am there, times 10. We have 10
Wow.
grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm in a different season of life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really in being okay with that
Yes.
and embracing that and saying,
Yes.
this is a new season,
Yes.
and things are going to change.
things are going to change.
and it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Embrace it.
Embrace it.
God designed it this way on
Yes,
purpose.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So you were talking about the whole perfect thing, and I love to tell this story, especially if I'm speaking somewhere. I may even talk about this when I speak next weekend. One of the most impactful things that an audience member ever said to me, like after you speak and everyone comes up and they want to talk to you and have questions and connect with you,
Right.
because that's normal for people. A lady said, "You know what I love about you, Clara, is that you're not one of the perfect people."
Yes.
Right? You're
Yes.
not, this perfect Barbie doll
Yes.
image. You're not one of the perfect people. You're so real.
Right.
Now, I could have taken that as you're short and fat, right?
know.
Or you're
Right.
not one of the pretty people.
Right.
But I didn't. I took it as a compliment. I was
Right.
honored that somebody said, "You know what? You are inspiring me because you're not one of those people that I could never be." Right? You're
Yes.
attainable. You could do
Right.
it. I could do
I
it
can
too.
touch you. You're real.
You're real. Yes. And I thought that means something right there.
It does.
Right?
It does.
People need to know that you are not perfect, that you are just as human. And that's one of the things I love about your book is you're really raw and
I
real about the truth of this, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
even in the forward, she talks about how real and just it's a process, it's a journey, and sometimes it's ugly.
It was ugly.
Right?
It was ugly. It was so ugly that at one point I did not know who I was. I felt like I was losing my mind because I knew what I thought I was. And so just imagine, someone taking you by the feet and doing this to you. And just shaking, just shaking you upside down, and everything you thought that was a party is just all over the place. And you're like, no, I want this back.
That's mine.
What are you doing? But I had to accept the process, and oftentimes we don't like the process because it can be ugly. And I'm very true to that because I don't want no one to think that this is a perfect walk because it's not.
Right.
And it was ugly in the beginning, but now, I've blossomed to this beautiful dark chocolate girl that that I had an issue with, I had so many complexes because of that, growing up as the darkest one of all the 10 children, you get called nicknames and stuff like that. So you build insecurities as a child, right? So it wasn't until, honestly, after I got married, I began to accept this is who I am, and I love me, and I would look at him, I'm like, girl, you're pretty. You are
rocking
pretty.
this.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
interesting that was being the darkest in the family, being really dark was an insecurity for you.
It was.
And in my family, I was like the pasty pale. Like right now I have a tan. You can't really tell. And I know that, right? But I was like the pasty pale kid.
Right.
I'm still the pasty one in the family. Although thankfully I have a couple of redhead grandchildren now, and my son are pasty too. So I'm the only pasty one. That's interesting how that was kind of an insecurity for me. People, made an issue out of that. I mean, among other things, but we all have something, is what I'm saying.
We all
right?
do.
That
We
we're
all
insecure
do.
about.
Yes.
that we need to just learn to embrace.
Yes, embrace it and overcome. Like, it doesn't matter what they say, as long as you know within yourself. Like, I can say with everything in me and every fiber that's in me right now that this dark chocolate girl rocks. She is nice, she's cute, she's beautiful, she's smart, she's a go-getter, she's an entrepreneur, she's the bomb.com. So
And a godly woman.
and a
right?
godly woman.
Don't leave that out
A
because
God-fearing woman.
that your transformation really started, and you got to read the book so that you
Yes,
know
that's when it
all the
started.
pieces. But that was the beginning when God got a hold of you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Transformation started to happen when God
Yes.
said, "Oh no, you're mine," right?
Yep.
I created you for a purpose, and you belong to me now.
Yes.
So you can't
Yes.
leave that important piece
I cannot,
out.
and I will not. As a matter of fact, there would not be a book called Embracing Me had it not been for the transformation of, you know, becoming who God created me to be. And I say becoming because it was a process.
Right.
You know, even though, you know, we speak the word and you say we speak the word by faith and it's done. Yeah, the word was spoken, but now we have to actually walk this thing
Right.
out.
Right.
And it
It's
was
not
the walking
magic.
out. No,
Right.
ma'am. I was like, I even talk about this in the book when I said, I mentioned that I didn't know how to have a conversation because I fought all the time. I was very feisty. I was very defensive. I came out of a very hostile house. You know, there was violence
With
in the
lots
house.
of kids.
Lots of kids.
Lots of kids.
You know, and then imagine this. I was the oldest of the 7. So I had some responsibilities there. My mom had to work, you know, different odd jobs. My dad was in and out. So I had to be responsible for my siblings. And I still had to deal with whatever I was going through in school. So, you know, it was nothing for me, you know, to release that anger on anyone just because I felt like I need to relieve myself. And I would just fight.
And they just got too close.
They were in my space. Yeah, and they just got popped. Like, you know, it's sometimes it was so ugly. Like, I can remember how, you know, different things I was told about it because I would go through those phases where I would spaz out and I black out. So
So you do not even remember
I do not
what you
remember.
even did.
No, I hear stories of it, and I'm like, who was
Like,
that?
That was not me.
I said, I
You're
didn't
on
do
crack.
that. I did not do that. It was like, yes, you did. I'm like, oh. So that all of that has to do with the process that I went through, but had it not been for the Lord,
Right.
God saving me at the age that he saved me at the age of 19, just graduated from high school. And, you know, I was thinking about becoming a stripper.
That's not in the book.
That's
new
not in the book.
That's new information.
That's probably going to be in the other book.
That's a whole other story.
You know,
isn't
and
it?
I was going left, and the Lord knew and
Said
he had
no.
a plan. He was like, absolutely not. No, that's not where you're going. You're coming here. You're going to be serving, you know, my kingdom. So it's an honor to say that, you know, I thank God for his grace, his mercy, and his love, because it's his love that transformed me.
Yep. And now you're using this God-given gift to
Yes.
help other people find transformation as well.
Yes.
I'm super excited about the event. So it's for women, which I always love women events because, you know, there's way more gabbing going on, right? There's way more real stuff going on
Yes.
when you get a bunch of women together, especially if you get a bunch of women believers together.
Yes.
And the Holy Spirit shows up,
Ooh,
right?
yes.
Right? So now you've got a bunch of women who love the Lord,
Yes.
loving on each other,
Yes.
encouraging and lifting up, and a whole thing happens that does not happen when the dudes are around,
No,
right?
because we're guarded.
It's different.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's different. We're
it's
letting
different.
our hair down now.
right?
You know?
It's going to be okay if the mascara runs.
Yes. Absolutely.
So it's a whole different,
It's
different
okay.
beast.
Yes.
I'm super excited about it. Share with us, we don't have a ton of time left, we have a little bit. Share with us some of the speakers that are going to be there.
Okay, so the first speaker is going to be Taisha Carville. She's a therapist. And so she's going to be talking about having a right mindset.
So important.
because it's important to have the right mindset if you're going to transition from where you are from point A to point B. You can't put new wine in old
White skins. That's right. That's right.
So I'm excited to hear about what she's going to talk about, how she's going to deliver that message. The second speaker is going to be Gerda Sanat. She's a financial advisor, and she's going to talk about, making sure we have the right and the solid foundation and doing something for ourselves, because sometimes we get caught up in doing for everyone else and we forget to make sure that we're securing ourselves for the future.
Right.
That's
so true.
The next speaker is going to be, I think it's you.
Clara's next. Okay.
You're going to be the next speaker.
Okay.
I'm Clara Rose, and you're going to be talking about crafting your message for the world.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and you helped me do that.
Yeah. Yes, this is one of the ways that we
Yes.
craft our message for the world, right?
Yes.
By creating a book. But it starts even before that, right?
Yes.
These are women who are just in the beginning stages maybe of awakening that gift.
Yes.
So we're really going to be looking to start with that, crafting their message from that place.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? We're going to start at the basics. We've got
Right.
some activities we'll do around that so that people can
Nice.
just sink their teeth into what I'm talking about, what it
Wow,
means
this
to
is
craft your
nice.
message. And then out of that, somewhere down the road, some of those women will say, oh yeah, I'm going to need a book as well. And then we can
Yes.
have that conversation down the road. If they've already started a book, we can of course have that conversation sooner, but I want to make sure that the event is about awakening your gift,
It
right?
is about awakening your gift.
That's what we're there for, is to help
Yes.
these women kind of come into their own.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Take that transitional step to say, okay, who did God create me to be? Right? Who am I
Yes.
supposed to be serving? This is interesting. I was at an event in October, a retreat, and we got together in little groups. And one of the ladies, I remember her saying, I don't know who my people are, right? Because I'm always saying, be you, right? Be
Right.
unapologetically, authentically who you are, and be your own weirdo, and your
Right.
weirdos will find you. And
Right.
she's like,
Yes.
I don't know who my weirdos are. And I'm like, they're like you, right? So when
Yes.
you be you, right? And you can't be you until you step into that and realize
Yes.
who it is that you are. And then when you start to be authentic to who that is,
Yes.
they'll come. You will attract
You do.
them.
You do. I
Right?
do.
You
That
attract
is-
them.
Yes. And here's the thing. I used to always say this because I felt like I was the black sheep, so to speak, in the family.
No pun intended, right?
No pun intended. Everybody was going left, and I
Yeah,
was going
you was
right.
going the other way?
If they were going right, I went left. I'm like, why am I going to follow you guys? No, I want to go my own way. I've always thought the opposite way. So, and I find it very funny that I attract those people.
See, now that's just God's sense of
It's
humor
funny.
right there.
It's funny. I'm
right?
like, that's not what I told you to do. So, so now I have to extend it grace.
Right? Isn't that
Because-
funny?
Yeah, so I attract the same people that are similar to me because they can relate. I
Right.
think that's what it is, being relatable to people and letting people know that I've had weaknesses. I have some days that I don't want to be bothered, but I've matured. Now I can say if I don't want to be bothered, I say, give me a minute.
Yeah. This isn't a good time.
Right.
Give me 5 minutes.
Right.
Right?
So,
Or
yes.
15 or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Super important. All of that comes from this journey, doesn't it?
Yes.
Our journey. I love that you used that word because it's not that any of us have arrived, right? We're
No.
all still on the journey till the day that we leave this earth, go home
Yes.
to glory, right?
Exactly.
We're all still on a journey, and it's so important to find out who it is that you're supposed to be
It
and
is.
walk in that.
It's very important.
So you can have fulfillment in life,
It's
right?
I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to know who you are and what you were called to do, because that is the only sense of fulfillment. Until I discovered who I was and what I'm supposed to be doing, there was a sense of voidness. When you discover who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, then you will feel and you will know that you are fulfilling a purpose. There's a sense of fulfillment that comes along with that. You feel good.
Yeah.
Because we're not here to serve ourselves.
Right.
No matter what industry you go into, no matter what business you go into, no matter what profession you're in, it's all about serving.
Yeah.
We're serving each other, and you just have to know who you're called to. Who are you called to serve?
So that you can serve them.
So that you can serve them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're almost out of time, but tell the ladies where they can go, because I know tickets are still available, right?
Yes.
Okay, so where do they go to get tickets?
So if you want tickets to purchase for Awakening Your Gift, go to awakeningyourgift.com. And once you click that link, it's going to go ahead and, it's going to ask you a few questions. It's going to
Show you some video.
Yeah,
and all that
you
from
can see
past
videos,
ones. Yeah.
testimonies about last year, what happened last year, and register and get your ticket for Friday night, 6 to 10. It's meet and greet, and we're going to have a little bit of hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that, And Saturday is the big day, so that's the big event where we're going to actually have continental breakfast in the morning, and we're going to have the workshops and different segments in between where you get a break, a lunch break. But it's going to be epic.
Amazing. And of course, that is where the book launch is going to be.
Yes.
Right? So the book launch is going to happen at this event.
Yes.
So if you're in the Naples area, or you are close enough to be in the Naples area for that event, we would love to have you at the book launch. Make a big to-do out of it, make Yasmine feel special on her special, not just the event, but the launch of her book. So we are out of time, but thank you so much for being here today and sharing with our audience that you have something exciting happening. We're out of time, but I would love to see you guys next week, same time, same place. Take care.